So my organization was the Dancing Divas and Dudes of Nashville, which is the first nonprofit team in Nashville, dance team in Nashville for kids with special needs or individuals with special needs. But in my experience specifically, I saw autistic individuals and individuals with Down syndrome. This organization serves special needs individuals in the hope that the class will help them grow physically, mentally, and emotionally. And they hope that through performances and outings that they will prove their ability and value to society. This relates directly to the class and to my organization because in chapter 11 of our text, we study the idea of normalization, which is the belief that every person, even those with the most severe disabilities, should have fair life conditions and behavioral patterns that are close as possible to those ordinarily experienced by others in social and physical environments, which is exactly what this organization does. They allow them to not be out of place and out of sight and out of place and out of mind, but instead they put them in the front by letting them go out and perform and do competitions against other just regular dance teams in Nashville, actually, and celebrate their differences instead of trying to hide them. And they allow them to be expressed through dance. Another way that this organization relates to the class is also in Chapter 11. We studied the overall concept of social work and services for people with disabilities and how, as advocates, even though we aren't social workers yet, but some of us are studying to be, obviously, by being in this class, how we can help and how we can make a difference, which is what exactly each of us did by being either actual volunteers or at least learning and studying about their association. So this is not my first time working with special needs kids before. I have worked 3 summers, I think, at Vanderbilt Medical School's Mammal Hearing School, which I got the position through Opportunity Now, which is a government-sponsored organization in Nashville that allows high school students to have internships that they are also able to get paid for throughout the summer. So the only reason that I quit working there was because I didn't qualify anymore since I graduated high school. But Mammal Hearing Center was a preschool for kids with hearing disabilities, more specifically deaf children. And while I was working there, one of the coordinators at Vanderbilt pointed me in the direction of a poem called Welcome to Holland, because my name is Holland. And I found it, I thought it was really touching, and it's about raising children with disabilities. So I'm going to read the poem, and it is written by Perl Kingsley, and I'll also put the link to the poem in the description below. I am often asked to describe the experience of raising a child with a disability, to try to help people who have not shared that unique experience, to understand it, to imagine how it would feel. It's like this. When you're going to have a baby, it's like planning a fabulous vacation trip to Italy. You buy a bunch of guidebooks and make your wonderful plans. The Colosseum, Michelangelo David, the gondolas in Venice. You may learn some handy phrases in Italian. It's all very exciting. After months of eager anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags and off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands. The stewardess comes in and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say? What do you mean, Holland? I signed up for Italy, and I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life, I've dreamed of going to Italy. But there has been a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland, and there you must stay. The important thing is, they haven't taken you to some horrible, disgusting, filthy place full of pestilence, famine, and disease. It's just a different place. So you must go out and buy a new guidebook, and you must learn a whole new language, and you will meet a whole new group of people you would have never met. It's just a different place. It's so replaced than Italy, less flashy than Italy. But after you've been there for a while and you catch your breath, you look around and you begin to notice that Holland has windmills, Holland has tulips, Holland even has remembrance. But everyone you know is busy, coming and going from Italy, and they're all bragging about what a wonderful time they had there. And for the rest of your life, you will say, yes, that's where I was supposed to go. That is what I had planned. The pain of that will never ever go away because the loss of that dream is a very significant loss. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to go to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special, the very lovely things about Holland. Welcome to Holland, written by Emily Perl Kingsley. So what this poem is trying to explain in so many words is that just because you think you should be going somewhere and doing something, and something happens that derails your plans and sends you on another path, doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong, which is what I think, especially in chapter 11, connects with our class and the organization I worked with, because most people, when they're having kids, they don't know that they're having an autistic child or a child with Down syndrome. Some people just don't get the test. There aren't some tests available. There's a whole plethora of things that keeps people from knowing what their child will be like once they're born. And having a child with a cognitive or mental disability is extremely difficult just because they're different, point blank, and you're never prepared to raise or to do something necessarily that's not the norm for you. I know I wouldn't be. And I know that in a lot of TV shows I've seen, I watched Born This Way religiously with my mom on A&E, which was a show about adults with Down syndrome. None of those parents were prepared either. So this poem basically discusses how you prepare to go to Italy and you end up somewhere else. And instead of mourning about the experience that you lost, you embrace the experience that you gain and you learn from it. And you can equally be as happy in Holland as you can be in Italy. And you can equally be as happy raising a kid with a cognitive or mental disability or any type of special disability as you can raising a normally healthy kid. And I think through social work and social services, I think that's very important that you have some sort of outlet or some sort of community that you can connect to when raising these kids, because it's very easy to feel like you're alone in that type of situation, and it's such an unknown area for a lot of people. So as social workers, it's important that we provide people with like clubs, groups, the medical help they need, any type of information that they might not have had previously that we can give to them and just take off a bunch of stress, unneeded stress especially, and help their families focus on treating their kids and raising their kids normally instead of focusing in on their differences. Because at the end of the day, that's all anybody wants to be treated as the same as everybody else, equal treatment for everybody. And especially for kids, that's really hard when you are a normal kid, whatever that means for anybody, and you have another child in your class with some type of mental or physical disability. And it's very important, I think, that social workers step into the picture so that they can help making the integration of classrooms easier, like they did at Vanderbilt's Mama Lear. They integrated the kids with hearing disorders or hearing disabilities, and they integrated regular kids that belong to Vandy workers, and they put them in a classroom together so they would be able to further their education in an integrated classroom. And that is what the Dancing and Divas of Nashville, Dancing Divas and Dudes of Nashville does as well. They allow kids with any type of disability, special disability, to have their own group, but they still send them out into the world, and they're able to interact with other types of people, whether it's people without any disability or different types of disabilities. Because as I said before, most of the kids in this organization or adults were mentally disabled, had autism or Down syndrome, or at least the people that I worked with. It might have been different in the past, but the few hours I worked there is what the majority had. So I think this poem connects to both the class and my mission and my personal experience with service work this semester.